Hey guys, welcome to the think tank. How you
Hello.
doing?
Good. Happy Saturday.
I know, right? It's already nearing the end of our happy Saturday.
And it's Oktoberfest too for anyone who's celebrating that. Um, Drink responsibly. Get a ride
Is
home.
that so? Is Oktoberfest in September?
I guess so. I guess.
Gotcha.
I I don't know.
Works for me.
It's just an excuse to
I have a little bit of fun.
yeah.
Hey Dandy, hey Shauna, how are you guys
Hello,
doing?
ladies. Rose, welcome.
I think you and I both sound like Snuffleupagus right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can
I'm ending the end of my sickness, but like nothing runs for me when I get congested. So I end up being stuffy for like weeks. Like
I
sucks.
yeah, yeah. Did you get hay fever and all that good stuff?
What's hay fever?
Oh, in the summer, it's like being allergic to the dust and the
Oh,
grains and the
allergies.
pollen and
Um,
yeah.
I never before, but once I moved to the middle
Mhm.
America, yes,
Yeah,
I experienced allergies like
yeah. My hey DB, hey Chopper. Dear, I look like a bug. Like my eyes will pop right out sometimes.
it gets
It's like,
so
yeah,
uh,
yeah, it's not pretty. I remember having an allergic reaction to something one time that I ate. My lips puffed up, my eyes puffed up. The pharmacist, "Oh, I've definitely seen you looking better." It's like, yeah.
uh,
So I went through that whole memorandum today.
mhm.
I'm worried.
Yeah.
Oh, I am. If this cop lied, I mean, there's just so much left out that it's like, oh no. So I
Nice.
don't.
Thank you, Chopper.
Oh, hey there. Yeah, thank you so much. Yeah. Yeah, how kind. Much appreciated. Grab it while you can. Yeah, all the way through it, it's like, okay, this was left out, and she said that, and it's just like, oh no, there's just so much that was left out of that probable cause
Or
that,
added
or added
or
that,
just fitted to fit some sort of
yeah, a different narrative
yeah.
than what.
At least now we
Yeah,
know where that second sketch comes from.
yeah, right. And it's just, I don't know about that either. Like the sketch on the bridge, they're saying the guy's like 20-ish. And then,
Boyish is
y-
what boyish looking.
yeah,
And you wouldn't confuse a guy that looks like Richard Allen for a
n-
20,
no,
maybe
n-
30-year-old
yeah.
guy. There's a
Hello,
difference in the
James.
youthfulness look
Oh,
of them.
absolutely. And she said medium build, so that takes away Keegan.
Mhm.
But then there's not really anybody out of all those names that are on that new paperwork. None of them
Yeah.
are fitting that either.
Well,
Do you think?
I haven't looked into all of that. I mean, everyone has like a different interpretation of what a medium build would be.
But none of them are 20-ish.
No. Well, there's
You
one in
know,
particular that I can think of that is that was probably around 20ish at the time.
from
Um,
that paperwork.
yeah. But he's
Okay.
not someone that was mentioned. He's just someone that I came across as like
Okay.
I was looking
Okay.
up those names.
Right. Okay. Okay. Yeah, because the names that are on there, I certainly didn't. I had never heard of these people, you know. Um, yeah, stocky is medium build, your average. Okay. Yeah, it's just a 20-year-old ish on the bridge. And then the other one is somebody going by and seeing this guy muddy or bloody, but it says it was supposed to just say muddy. And it just, the description that she gave doesn't fit anybody.
Mm-mm.
So it's like, well, it
I
definitely
mean,
doesn't sound
there
like bridge guy.
and that's like something that was kind of noticed in the probable cause. Like some people had referenced it before about how the descriptions, like the individual descriptions that were made by these people on the probable cause, seem somewhat different. Like they were like, that sounds like
Exactly.
two different people. Like, and then this statement comes out by defense, and you're just like, wow, they weren't even describing. Like their
No,
descriptions are nothing like what the probable cause says.
no, no. And they don't look like anybody that has been brought to the table so far. You know, even the guy walking down the highway, I mean, he didn't sound like anybody that's been put out. I mean, wouldn't have been Ron Logan. I mean, he's a big, tall guy. Again, couldn't have been, yeah, eyewitnesses, their statements do vary. Absolutely. But they're just so different, right?
Mm-hmm.
That it's like, oh no. Oh no. And yeah, I'm just really worried about that document. Oh, those lawyers are working.
That's their job, is to do that.
Mhm.
Is to fight for their client. I respect that.
Absolutely.
It is
I just
worrisome.
very much so. Very much so. And I mean, I think you and I were talking about it yesterday, probably, how just all of this stuff wasn't put out. All of this stuff is leading, possibly to like a really bad outcome. Because I'm not saying that Ron Logan is innocent, and I still think he's bridge guy in my
You
mind.
just called him Ron Logan.
What's that?
You just said Ron Logan.
Yeah, it wasn't Ron Logan because he's tall. I mean, he's a tall guy, not the way that woman said. Like I was trying to put different people
Yeah, Ron Logan
that have
looks
been
old too. You'd be like, that's an old guy.
exactly. Yeah. So he wasn't the guy on the bridge and he wasn't the guy on the road. It's just, oh my goodness. And it sounds like where this person spotted this guy, it was a dead end.
And I mean, are we crazy or not? Because like, doesn't the bridge guy, the guy in the photo of the bridge, he's wearing a blue jacket.
Yes, he is.
So why does everything say black?
Yep.
I mean, I know sometimes like people can be a little bit colorblind, right, on certain hues, but like, I know that's blue. Why would I confuse that for black?
Well, that's what those girls all said, dressed in black. All the girls that, like those 3 girls that were sitting on that bench there, they give a description of bridge guy, except he was all black. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and that's not what the guy in the photo is wearing, though.
Nope, it's not. No, it's not. So is it brown? Is it black? Is it, oh my word. I just see some trouble heading our way as far as that case goes. I think I messaged you. I was maybe 20, 30 pages from finishing it up. And it's like, oh no.
Yeah.
This case is like, it's just imploded.
Yeah. I mean, I knew that in the first like 50 pages that I read, I was like, oh, this is bad. I was like, if all these things that they're saying is true, this is bad.
Well, you know, it's just that the deck was getting stacked more and more and more all the way through those documents. It's like, oh no, this was left out, and she said this. No, she didn't say that. She said this. This guy's in a brown jacket. This one's dressed in black. That one's wearing blue. It's like the guy. Yeah, and the girls, well said, Rose. The girls also said 5'9" or 5'10". So it's like, oh yeah. Can't all be as simple as the Daryl Brooks case.
Should be drug tested.
Chopper. There's it's so far-fetched that it's almost unbelievable until you realize, like you said yesterday, that there was a lot easier ways to go than bringing this kind of thing into the case. Like there was the Ron Logans that they could have used. There was the Keegan Kleins. And for some reason, they go this direction. You know, they may as well said aliens beam down in the spot. And I mean, I just didn't expect it.
I mean, that's still a possibility. You can't rule that one out.
Nope, that's true. That's true. Bigfoot too. Hey, Gussie, they really are.
Yeah.
Yeah. Aliens are next year. Yeah, the Yeti. Yeah, I just really am worried. Did you read any of that today or just stayed away from?
I've skimmed through the other pages.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't actually sat down and read the rest of it. Like,
yeah,
because I want to sit down and like highlight things and
absolutely. Yeah, you printed it off, didn't you? And you don't usually do that.
I know, I never do that. And I printed it off because I felt that there were certain things in there when I first looked at it. I was like reading through it. I was like, well, that's strange. That's strange.
Oh, there's
and like,
yep.
I was like, okay, this is a document that I need to print out and actually like write on.
Oh yeah. And I mean, literally, I was every time I read it, I learn something more.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's startling.
They to talk about the attorneys for Richard Allen, these two guys have both have their own practicing firm. And I guess they once in a while they're on the list to be appointed counsel for defense by the state.
Okay.
There's like a list you can get on. They're part of that list. And they appointed these two guys. And again, these guys have their own firms. They have their own teams. They have their own investigators. And these guys did some work. And it's 136 pages of work. Like they didn't get this stuff out of nowhere. It's not, you know.
And they tell it like a story.
Yeah.
You know, they just, I mean, if there's crooked screws, if there's crooked cops, if it's just like, oh no.
And again, guys, I know like the cultist thing is a little hard for people to wrap their brains around, you know, like I definitely don't want to think that these girls were sacrificed ritually. That is terrible, period. I mean, it's terrible what happened to them, but like that is just even more
different level.
So I don't really want to wrap my head around the whole cultist thing. I just more concentrate on the details of what they're explaining, of what they're trying to bring out, and say that it took time. All of this stuff
Mhm.
took time.
Mhm.
And the
Mhm.
time frame that they're giving, just, it's hard for me to believe that that's possible in that time. That's me. Like, I don't know. I'm sure
You
it probably
see,
is, but
well, and I still don't believe that that sighting was him, so I think the time can go. That's what I think. I think he had more time.
like, what were, like, the family was already out there at, like, what, 3:30? Like, they had
I bet they weren't down
several
there, though.
people, like, on the trails, like, yelling out their names and, like,
Mhm.
walking around looking for them, and
I would like to know where they searched that
so
night,
would I.
but yeah. Yeah. I know. This is the thing. I'm almost thinking like they make a really, really good, like they're good patsies.
Yeah.
And I just think that with all of the possible lies that this Leggett made, if he has lied
True.
on that document,
Yeah.
this stuff, it's just all kind of like icing on the cake. You can take it or leave it, but I just
It's the accusations that they're actually bringing upon the investigators, and
that's right.
that's what really worries me, because that they might actually have something there. I don't know.
That's what
Um,
I'm worried about. I'm worried about that. I'm really, really worried that it was just altered because
and that's
they
bad. That's
oh,
bad.
it is. It's so bad. It is so bad. When I was first reading it, it was like, yeah, I don't know. I don't want to listen. I don't believe any of this stuff. And then I read it again and it's like, okay, well, what else did this Liggett allegedly say, do or not do? And it continued.
Yeah.
It was just more and
I
more
think
and
what
more.
really got me was because the defense, there's a couple of things, like, I know people have their feelings like, oh, he's guilty or not guilty, but the truth is you're
Mhm,
supposed to be innocent until proven guilty, right? So,
mhm, mhm,
um, but these guys are, there's a reason why there's certain rules put in place, and discovery needs to be turned over in a good amount of time and in a justly
mhm,
manner, and all of these things, because the defense is also working on the case themselves. They're doing depositions, interviewing
mhm,
investigators, interviewing the witnesses. Like, they're doing all
mhm,
these things. And during those depositions, when they interviewed Leggett,
mhm.
and he was like, oh yeah, one guy, one man did it. But then they
Yeah.
interviewed another guy like the very next day, and he's like, I've had conversations with Liggett personally, and he doesn't believe it himself that it's one man.
E
And you're just like,
exactly.
wow.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah, yeah, no. And, I'm just really, really concerned about well, an example would be they gave both of those sketches out, right?
yeah, no, it was really.
And oh, and they didn't even put them out in sequence.
Do you remember the weird thing that the chief said? What's his name? The the head guy, the guy that's running all of it.
Oh, 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 that's not good. What's his name again?
I don't know. He made like this really weird comment. Like, they had put out that sketch, and then like years later they put out that younger sketch. And when they
Yes.
interviewed him about it, he was like,
Oh, that was so weird.
let's just pretend it's like the same person, but it's not the same
Yeah.
person. And you're just like, what?
Yeah. Yeah.
What are you talking about?
Just try and put their faces together
Yeah,
and look at
you're
the
just
things that are similar.
what?
It's like, what? Yeah. It's just like,
I was
oh
like, is this dude
no.
on like LSD on like some weird trip? Or am I on a weird trip? I didn't even understand like any of the thing that he said
No,
in that interview.
no.
I was like, wow.
Well, that's it. Wow. It's just like, yeah, it made absolutely no sense. Even when that first came out, it was like, oh my God. The face huggers in Peru. Oh, I think we're talking about a different Peru. I think the
Well,
prosecution has what they need for evidence to
here's the
prove, or I
problem.
hope so,
Here's the
Dandy.
problem with that, Dandy, is the fact that if it comes out to actually be true, that any of the things that the defense said in that about the investigators, what about how it was the investigation even proceeded and all of that, and things not being turned over, if those things that they're saying is actually true,
Mhm,
then that PCA gets thrown out the window. And that
mhm.
probable cause is what they needed to get the search warrant. So the search
Yeah.
warrant essentially gets thrown out the window, and everything that they got from it is gone.
Mhm.
You can't use it.
Well, that's the thing.
It's what
That's
is
the
that?
thing.
Like from the forbidden tree, the fruit from the forbidden tree kind of thing. That's what they're kind of
Yeah,
referencing.
yeah. Oh, is that right? If you remember, searchers would have found them, but LE or a fireman directed
Right.
them away and said it was already searched.
There was something weird. I know, like, there's like a special that we posted on the Abby and Libby Discord channel
Mhm.
that you remember when I did that weekend, that deep dive Delphi weekend where I didn't sleep
Oh,
for like
yes.
48 hours.
Yeah, yeah,
That's one of the things that I watched. And I remember them saying that the only reason they came back to
yeah.
the area was because they got like a phone ping at
I remember
like
that.
3,
Yeah,
4 in the morning or something like that.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Just, I don't know. This case, like, you know, I'm getting used to things coming out of, like, left field. I'm
Mhm.
getting used to it. But this one, literally, I've had to go over these documents and over these documents. Have you seen the letter from the inmate that's in the Huskow there with,
Yeah, we actually talked about that. We went over it on a live one day. It was like a cellmate or something, or not a cellmate, but like just a guy that
yeah, a guy that was
saw
locked up.
or just wanted to let people know that Richard was really being mistreated, and like he really wanted to let
Mhm.
the defense know or his lawyers know, like you guys are actually on the right path or something like that. It's a really interesting letter.
It is. It is. Both times I read it. No, it is. It's just this information that's coming out. It's mhm. The
I
main thing
find
to me isn't really the Odinists and
Yeah,
all of that.
I'm not even looking at that. Like for me, that's not
Y mhm, yeah.
important. Like the truth
No.
is like 2 girls lost their lives, and that's important. And you
Mhm.
want justice for that. So I'm not even looking at the to me that Odinism thing is just like a detail. Like I'm
Yes.
looking at everything else, like how long it took, like these things that they're describing of it's it gives you pause. Like you can't help but just be like, okay, like maybe there
Right.
is something there. Like maybe this needs to be relooked at. If anything, that needs to be vetted. Like all of that that's in that document needs to be looked at.
It does. I agree with you. I agree with you. You know, when they have this, Frank
Doug
Doug
Carter.
Carter,
Thank you,
yay,
Rose.
Rose.
I knew he had like a super simple name too. I was like, it's super simple. Like
My brain just went blank.
it's that mucus brain that we have.
R right. Oh my goodness. Um, yeah, Doug Carter. So what does he know? There's another question. What the hell does Doug Carter actually know?
Why hasn't Doug Carter said anything?
And why hasn't Doug Carter said anything? Good point, right?
I would have
It's
figured somebody
just
would be like knocking on his door asking for like, you know, a quick
Mhm.
little, hey, what do you think? Like, what's your take on this? Is there, or unless there's like a gag order, can you not say anything? Is there a gag order for this? For Delphi?
I think there is. Yep,
Hmm.
I think there is.
Well, I
Isn't there? Like,
mean,
I'm sure of it.
he's an investigator. He can say things without actually saying things.
Yeah. Is Letitia having problems in the Hooskow? Aw. Aw. I hate
Hold
to hear
on.
stuff
Hold
like
on. Let me get
that.
my violin. Hold on.
Gag order. Thanks, cocktail.
Near, near, near.
Yeah.
That's my tiny violin playing for Letitia. Ain't nobody care.
Robert Ives. Which guy is now? Where's he from? How come that name's ringing a bell, but I'm not placing him? Can you remember?
The
Friend?
original district attorney.
Okay,
That
the
would
original
actually be wow.
DA.
Good thinking, Blifton. You need to fly down here and go interview him.
Right? Yeah. Yeah. Oh my goodness. There are so many people that need to be talked to at this point. I mean, there's no way this judge is going to be able to listen to this stuff and come up with an answer right away. I mean, this stuff is going to have to be dug into. I think you're right, Rose.
Yeah, I do remember that too. Thank you for bringing that up. I totally forgot that that judge recused himself.
He did. He literally said he was afraid for himself and his family. There was something
He
about this
needs to be
case that's
interviewed then too.
I think so. Yeah. Yeah, I really think so. Who was the first to mention a stage non-secular scene?
I think I don't know who, but that's been actually like from the very beginning. It was kind of talked about. Like there was like little murmurs about it, like
Mhm.
about how the crime scene looked, but no one ever like they shut it down really quick.
Mhm. Mhm. Hey, Angela, good to see you.
Am I Melvin? I love that.
What did I miss? Melvin. Love it. I
I
love
know. I'm
that.
gonna have to like change my name now. Hold on. I'm gonna just go change it. I'll be back.
Yeah. Franky and Melvin. Well said. I love that. So, yeah. Where do they go now? The judge is going to have to hear this. I don't know how long it's going to take, but I don't think it'll take too long to have this hearing. But I do think that autocorrect. Melvin left the Meldon has left the building. Melvin. There we go. I love it.
I had to. I loved it too. As soon as I read it, I was like, I have to.
Autocorrect is not our friend. So let's see. I didn't bring up a whole lot because there's that paperwork, but I'm not sure. I redacted everything that I think needs to be redacted, but at the same time, it just makes me uncomfortable. But all of these names are out there. They're all out there. I just wish they weren't.
Yeah, I understand.
Yeah. It doesn't do anything to help these girls, and it doesn't do anything to help these families, what is happening right now. And if Richard Allen is guilty and he gets off because of a crooked cop and a couple crooked screws? No.
That would
No.
piss a lot of people off.
It really would in that little tiny town.
You think they put him in like witness protection after that? Let's just like hypothetically speaking, I hope we don't have to get there, but
yeah. Was it Richard? Okay, the original DA was the first to mention the oddities of the crime scene in an interview.
Was it?
Melvin would be a good koala name. What's his name again?
Robert Ives. We should try and find that. Let me see.
Robert Ives. Most of the stuff, well, all the stuff is old.
Is that video like maybe 6 minutes long, Blifton?
That's what I've got too.
Oh,
on Fox. Wait, I'm trying to. So yeah, he stepped down.
Oh, here you go. Let's I'll send this to you on Discord. It's not the interview, but it's like I guess like a story that talks about the interview.
Okay. Let me see. Oh, it's like, oh, it's the whole transcript.
Yeah.
Okay. I remember him briefly. I'll show this here. Well, I'll do this one first. I'll start where I'm at. Okay, so attorney for Richard Allen, the man accused of amming two young teens from Delphi, Indiana, made shocking new claims in a new court filing Monday. There is overwhelming evidence that Abby Williams and Libby German weren't attacked by Allen, but were instead ritualistically, so by a religious cult run by white nationalists. Defense attorney wrote that German 14 and Williams 13 were deleted by cult members in a sick ritual that included multiple people in 2017. Though they claim Allen was not present at the time, his lawyer said the alleged deleters practiced a pagan Norse religion, Odism, which has been hijacked by white nationalists. Citing a letter sent to the police in 2019, the defense said German and Williams were targeted because of one of their parents, who was white, was dating someone of another race. The twisted allegations emerge as Allen's defense tries to have evidence collected from a raid on his home disqualified, which includes finding a pistol that links him to the crime. The defense claims the judge who signed the search warrant was unaware of the double deleters' alleged links to Odinism, making the probable cause for the case and the Allen search warrant faulty.
Faulty would be an understatement.
That it would.
Like,
yeah. It's major understatement. So nothing links Richard Allen to any of the Odinite suspects, the same Odinite suspects that evidence strongly supports Abby and Libby being part of some kind of pagan ritual. The filing read, Richard Allen has had nothing to do with this crime, but rather is an innocent man, a patsy for the police, arrested 26 days before an election. Oh my God. Attorneys backed up their bombshell claims by pointing to eerie observations cops made at the crime scene that included the finding of sticks that formed Germanic letters, symbols supposedly associated with Odinism. The filing claimed that sticks were painted with the red stuff and that sticks were placed in Abby's hair that crudely mimicked horns or antlers. The filing said there were clear ruins left at the scene, which a state trooper wrote in a report appeared to be the devil worshipping kind.
See, and that's also okay. So, like with that, when they describe that,
Mhm.
the ruins, I can't say that there were ruins. I wasn't there. That could be the defense's interpretation of what those were.
Right.
But to me, it sounds like someone took the time to place them. It's not like
Agreed.
somebody like grabbed them in like a bunch and then just like threw them. Like they
Exactly. Which
placed
is what the other side is saying, that they were just a few things thrown on top and it was like, okay, this is a wasted effort, and they leave it at that. That's from that interview I seen, that's the way I understood what she was saying. But again, it's going to be down to interpretation,
Yeah.
right?
And again, we weren't there. We don't know. I don't ever want
Yeah.
to look at that crime scene. I don't ever really
No.
want to be there.
No.
I
I wouldn't
wish
mind
somebody
seeing.
would just tell me. Like, just tell me. Like, what is it?
Yeah. I wouldn't mind seeing this F, because the way that it's described by the two different people is completely different
Yeah.
from one another. So it's like, okay, now where do you go with that?
So I know me and you went back and forth on that. And I was like, well, I don't know what it looked like. And I was like, but if she's,
Mhm.
is it like the paint kind of, like we talked about that style, like people dip a paintbrush and they
Right.
like just flick it.
Mhm.
And it'll cause like, it can cause lines and also cause splatter. So
Yeah. Yeah, and that's what it basically looked like, was in this drawing, was it was almost like like a splatter. It didn't show anything in this drawing of anything being drawn with a finger or drawn with a stick. But it is in that probable cause, or sorry, in that memorandum, yeah.
ruins. I actually sent that one to you, right? That F, what it was. It stands for
Let's see if I can
fortune, I
find
think. Good fortune is what the F is supposed to be.
Yeah, it's not supposed to be negative. Let me see here.
It's fihu. It's wealth. Wealth.
For wealth, okay.
But then there's the other one that's Zeus that actually looks like an F.
Mhm.
And it's mouth.
Yeah. You see? And I mean, is it an F or isn't it an F? Is it splatter? So, yeah, it's very confusing. It's all really confusing. It's just, I don't know.
The way they talk about Abby being positioned is really creepy. Because of, if you go and look up Odinism, I mean, you can go on the website of Odinism and they have a picture that looks very similar to how Abby was posed. Or positioned.
But, even with the way they describe her arms, again, that's even open to interpretation. I've seen where her arms are straight up by her face, where they're crossed over up. Like there's just.
That's still not a natural way to fall.
Well,
And
unless you're
again-
just tossed some way.
And again, we don't know everything about the scene, but Abby was clean.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yes,
She didn't
was.
have anything on her. Like, she was clothed. Her clothes seemed somewhat clean, other than like what she was lying on, which would have been the sweatshirt, and the pants were wet on the bottom, like
Mm-hmm.
where she was laying. But the
Right.
pants and the sweatshirt were Libby's.
Yes.
Everything else she had underneath that was hers, but
Yes.
and
Yeah.
she was completely clean. Like there was nothing on her anywhere that would
No.
suggest that.
No, it's like I'm sure she was clean down at the river. I'm sure she was. You know, it's the only thing that makes sense. It's the only way you can go through something like that and come out clean.
You know what I was thinking about that letter on the tree
Mm-hmm.
is how they, I'm just going with what the defense is saying. So let's pretend like what the defense is saying was there. I don't know.
Right.
And the way they described it was either their fingers were used or an instrument of some sort was used to do that.
Right. Yeah.
I wonder if they actually tested that because they know that it was Abby's.
Yeah.
But I wonder
Yeah.
if they did like if there was
They didn't
more,
even lift it.
if there was more alleles, like if they actually swabbed that piece of the tree on that, and then it like if they tested it, like would it come back with more alleles than what a person should have in one marker?
Those are all really good questions that I did not understand even a little bit. Well, I know that they did match it, right? And not even carved into the tree, James. It's like they drew it with either a finger or maybe one of those sticks. But then you see the drawing of what it looked like, and it doesn't look like there's been anything. It just looks like splatter marks.
I want to show you guys something really quick so you kind of understand what I'm talking about, like alleles and whatnot.
Yeah, like blood splatter is what the picture looked like. And this comes from what is it called? The Delphi or no?
Just to kind of show you, and this is something. This is nobody's DNA, guys. Like, so don't worry. It's just a sample so people understand. So if you follow this line all the way down, this is part of your DNA profile. So like the C would be for child, AF, and this is a paternity test, right? But a person will either have one allele or two alleles in a marker. So like if somebody,
the marker is the top line.
Yeah, so the marker is labeled the mixture of letters and numbers here. So this is the marker, and it'll be boxed in, right? So every person, if you go down, the child would have a 14, the father has a 14 and a 17. The reason the child only has one marker or one allele in that marker is because he got the same allele number from his mom and his dad.
Okay.
So that's why you only see one.
Okay.
Where you would see two, obviously you would see that he got the 8 from dad.
Right.
And then the 9 probably from mom. Right.
Okay.
So again, a person is always going to have one allele or two. This is the way to look. So it's going to have one or two.
Okay.
In all of your markers. So if they actually went to test that, like test that tree, that blood that was on there, I wonder if they would have came up with more alleles. So like let's pretend like it was a 14, a 17, and then there was like a 13. Well, you know that 13 would belong to your
Someone
suspect.
else.
Yeah, it's somebody else's.
Right. Right. Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah. Just kind
That
of
makes sense. Well,
visually.
yeah, because it just doesn't make sense. Yeah, they had to have been moved. Unless something happened over top of that water. That is the only thing I can think of is kind of when when a person's hunting deer and
Mhm.
they want to drain everything fast.
Yeah. You.
Upside down,
Yep.
and so I haven't even really looked to see what the trees look like around there to even know if they would sustain anyone's weight.
What I find really curious about all that is
Mhm.
the lack of blood.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, like, they would almost have to do it. Yeah,
Somewhere
Melvin knows DNA.
else.
I just think of the chipmunks. Melvin and the chipmunks. Okay. The number
Well,
13 has no special meaning in Norse mythology. That's that's what makes it unlikely because they would do it on a special day. So, is there any way to find out, like, if there was a
yeah,
full
Google hello.
moon?
February 13th, 2017.
Like, you
Moon
know,
phase.
yeah.
Waning gibbous. Waning gibbous.
What does that mean?
I have no idea.
Yeah, so I'm wondering, maybe yeah, if there's large enough trees. Oh, you are? Okay, okay. So, Angela, that might be a possibility in your mind?
It's definitely
Because
very possible. I just want to know where that tree is, or did they have a bucket or something? Because like most of the time, like let's say if this was ritualistic,
Mhm.
what
Hey,
they're drain
Cryptex.
what they drain you of is still of importance. It
Mhm.
holds something, so they would have wanted to probably drain it into something.
Well, or just over top of the river. That's my
But then
thoughts.
I would think that by the time that they were missing, like let's say they did it somewhere over the river where it was close to the scene of where they were found,
Yeah.
there was already people looking for them. If you stood on that bridge, you would see that flowing red coming down the river.
Well, further down, I'd have to take a better look. Maybe we should pull up the map because I'm wondering, is there a mouth that's really close to there? Because if there's a mouth,
Mm.
that would maybe give us a good idea as to where a person might do something like this. Yeah, that's true.
Deer Creek, though. Deer Creek is so windy. Like it.
Is there a mouth close? Not close?
Not that I can tell.
Okay. Waning gibbous phase is between a full moon and half moon. Waning means it is getting smaller. I've known a couple men that have been waning.
You rascal. Yeah, I don't really see.
Not so much. Loki was 13th to arrive at the feast in Valhalla, where he tricked another attendee into deleting the god Baldur. Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah. My dog's name is Loki.
I know. Oh, do you, James? Still have pagan festivals in Scotland just before Christmas. Marching down streets with big fireballs. That would be really cool. Yes, waning gibbous men. Gibbius. And 13 is unlucky. So, yeah. It's that Deer Creek, it's just not huge.
No.
You know what I mean? Like, it's just not huge. So it's dark out. So would anybody even notice if something like that was going through the water? I mean, it's pitch black out. And I just,
what makes us think that they were even, what if it was actually parked, whoever did this was actually parked closer to the other end of the bridge? Because there is like a private drive there. And that's how they got out. And that's how it's easier to get back in. Wouldn't it be easier to get out and in from the other side of the Moonon Bridge?
one would definitely think so.
There just seems to be more cover on this side of the bridge, closer to Abby's house, because it's literally the same road that Abby lived on.
Mm-hmm.
Would be the road that you would park in, hide in. Or even over on the other side of her house. Like, that's, to me, seems like the best area to like park and maybe extract someone.
Okay.
Or two people from there.
Yeah.
And the shoe was also on that side.
Right. And yeah. And he threw a lot of clothes into that water
all
there.
Of Abby's clothes, specifically.
All the leftover stuff.
All of Abby's leftover clothing were thrown. Well, and then what would have been, I guess, Libby's sweatshirt, and
she was wearing the sweatshirt. She was wearing the shirt.
She was wearing Abby's sweatshirt. No, sorry. Abby was wearing Libby's sweatshirt. So where did Libby's sweatshirt go?
I thought it was under that.
No.
It wasn't, eh?
No, they like gathered it all that up and threw it in the water.
Okay. For some reason, I thought she still had some of her own clothing on.
She did. She had her undergarments, the t-shirt, the pink t-shirt.
Mm-hmm.
But then it was Libby's sweatshirt and Libby's jeans.
And Abby's own shoes put back on.
Yes. And then one of Libby's shoes was underneath her.
Yeah, exactly.
And then the other shoe was on the other side of the creek, closer to that road that I'm talking about.
They came through Ron Logan's property, in my opinion. So I'm just curious, because you're very familiar with this area. And I don't know where you're from, if you hear chit chat or what have you, but I'm really curious how many people still think maybe Ron Logan had an idea what went on. You know? Hey, Malvin, does water completely destroy DNA?
I was just answering that question. It depends how long they've been in the water for and where that DNA is found. I've heard of SA victims who, eventually had their lives taken, that were in the water.
Mm-hmm.
And they did the kit test on them.
Mm-hmm.
And they found the DNA in there. So it depends how long you're in there, and where it is. If it's on your clothing,
that makes sense.
It's probably not going to survive now.
So even if the red stuff is all over your shirt, if you throw it into that water, it's going to
again, it really all depends. Like, if the DNA itself isn't inside of you, it's likely to survive, again, depending on the time, how long you've been
Okay.
in there, and what's in the water as well. Like different bacterias are in different waters. So,
Right.
but no, usually it does not survive. No.
It's, what this has done is it makes you start looking at these characters again, these same characters. It's like, maybe I can't eliminate you now, but I'm still having a hard time keeping the Kleins out of this scenario. I just can't see Keegan Kline catfishing these kids and then have nothing to do with this.
And then
Like,
putting himself in Delphi that very same day.
yeah. Mm-hmm.
Weird.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, not too far away from what would be Richard Allen's house, right down the street. He claimed that he was at a gas station somewhere there. And I don't know where he stopped, on what highway that he was waiting, but it's just really strange to put yourself there. You had nothing to do with it. The cops aren't even blaming you for it.
Yeah.
You have nothing to do with it, but you're placing yourself there. What's up with that?
Yeah. So that means we know that Keegan Kline has put himself really close. And we know that Richard Allen has put himself there. So who are these people seeing? You think so too, hey, Cripex? Cryptex, sorry.
And the dude worked at a freaking store that people in this whole town had to frequent at one point or another in their lives, because when you get sick, that's probably the pharmacy that you go to.
Yeah, I would think, right?
Inside that Walgreens or CVS or whatever it was. You never recognized him? You weren't like, hey, weren't you on that Moonon Bridge that day?
Yeah.
Like.
But he puts himself there.
He does. And he immediately went and admitted to whoever. I don't, Park Ranger, whoever the hell it was. That's still law.
Well, but do you know what his notes said? Richard Allen Whiteman. That is all the notes from that guy.
Whiteman?
All. The road he's on didn't say anything else. They made it up. His notes just said Richard Allen Whiteman. So that's probably Richard Allen lives on Whiteman.
Remind me never to give that guy any valuable information.
And he is the guy that talked to the cops. Those were his notes. Richard Allen Whiteman. It's in that paperwork. It's like, no.
Wow.
So
thorough job there, guys.
It's just brutal. Yeah, that's true. He only put himself there at 1:30. They asked him at one point, were you there between 1:30 and 5:30? And he just said yes. He doesn't say that he was there the entire time. He just says, yeah, I was there. But then he says he was standing on that darn bridge watching fish. So it's like, oh no.
I mean, now thinking, like, the more I think about it, it is kind of, have you ever just like taken a walk and just like stared like out into nothing?
Like, yeah.
You're just like,
over a bridge with no sides.
Are they the Pablo Escobar memes where the guy's just like sitting on a swinging chair by himself, like no friends? He's just like staring out into nothingness. What if that guy was having one of those days, and he was like, I was staring at the fish. Like, that sounds like something I would say when I'm having like
a massive brain fart,
like just like a really bad day, like just there's a reason I wanted to get out. And
how's he even gonna watch it when there's no railings? Like, you don't even look over without doing a head dive.
But that's the thing. Like, what if he's not looking straight down, he's just like staring into the flowing river there. I mean, people meditate like that sometimes. Like, I don't know what the guy was doing.
Oh yeah, what was he doing up there? That's exactly it.
And it just he's like watching the fish. Like,
Yeah.
I guess, like, when you really think about
45 feet down with no railing.
it,
He's watching the fish.
I don't know. I'm trying to make anything that would make sense to me. I know I've stared at a puddle one day that had like little tadpoles in it.
Mhm.
I just stared at it forever. Like,
Yeah, from 50 feet
I
in the
mean, no, I
air.
was standing. Well, like maybe the tadpoles thought I was like 50 feet away, but in reference, like, I was standing right over them. But I've gotten lost like that, man. I don't know. Just,
I have, but I've never stood 50 feet in the air looking over. I mean, what? What size are these fish? Right? Like, what have they got in there? Like Pinocchio's Buddy the Whale? Yeah, it's just
yes,
insane.
cryptex. We actually commented on that in one of our past lives that we did on Delphi about how watching the fish is a lot like catfishing. That's what it sounds like. We've done a lot of speculation on this case because
Watching salmon jump dams is extremely impressive. Nothing better than when the salmon run. Yeah. So anyone who's new to the channel, if you haven't subscribed,
welcome.
please do. Yes, welcome, welcome. Don't forget to hit that thumb. It makes a huge difference on the channel. Huge.
Yes.
Carp?
Liking, sharing helps the algorithm.
Oh, it does. Welcome, Lacey. 50 feet really isn't that far, but
I wouldn't jump off anything that's 50 feet, so it's pretty far to me.
Hey there, Perry. Considering they crossed the stream, he wouldn't be watching the fish from the bridge. That's very, very true. Yeah, if it's low enough that they can walk through it, you're probably not going to see the great big massive fish go flying by.
Another thing that fish, because these girls would have just probably been entering high school, right? So they're freshmen. I know this is far-fetched, but like we call freshmen fish, right?
Mm-hmm.
So like he's watching the fish, like he's watching young girls.
Oh, isn't that something? I really didn't. I've never heard of that. Yipes. I think so, Lacey. It just makes sense in my head that they are somehow tied. And I'm also really suspicious of Keegan's dad. Tony's, I don't know.
But you looks like a creep. No offense, Tony. But you look like a creep, man.
Yeah. Half a football pitch. Yeah. Before the internet, watching fish was entertainment. Damage. Well, fall damage, sure, but looking isn't falling. That's true. Yeah, you'd probably drop from a 50-foot drop. And this is the thing, like reasonable doubt. There's a lot of that floating around right now.
And it's a
lot
problem
of doubt.
because the other issue that there is the fact that the prosecution is only blaming one man.
Mm-hmm.
And if all of this evidence is showing that it's not just one man, then where's the other guy? And so this obviously, that's reasonable doubt in itself for Richard Allen.
Yeah.
You can't say it's one man and then say that it took two guys to do all of this. Where's the other guy?
Yeah, sitting in his little red Jeep bombing around Peru, Indiana. Carp have ruined Murray River here. All our fish are gone. Oh?
That's how Missouri had like an invasion of weird, I think it's carp. And if you drive your boat fast enough through there, they all start jumping. A whole crew of them start jumping. You get knocked out, hurt, dead. Sorry, but because they're just flying everywhere. Yeah, fresh fish, fresh fish, fresh fish.
I forgot about that. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know how. I mean, there's everything from that purple PT Cruiser to Keegan putting himself there and pretty much pointing directly at his dad.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, did they, Rose? Everyone said the fish is beautiful from the bridge. You even did a video of it.
The Asian carp, Mom. Yes. It's like a huge problem here. It's like affecting the river ecosystem around here.
Oh, no. That's the thing, is he's admitting this. It's just like, oh my goodness. And I agree with you that he could have acted alone. I agree with you 1,000%.
Yeah, if it was prepped.
I just think the time was there without prep. It's my personal opinion, right? Doesn't mean I'm right. That's for darn sure. That it's just, I think it could have been done. Only reason I think is because I don't think the timeline is right. Which that's the only thing. If I was locked in to both of those sightings, I wouldn't think so. But yeah. Melvin, I've seen that, Melvin.
I'm just gonna keep my name as Melvin from now on.
I love it. Yeah. Yeah, I like Melvin. Keegan and Tony did the catfishing and Richard was the do guy. Yeah. And it's Asian carp. That's what you were just talking about?
Mm-hmm.
And they get that big? Oh my word. Oh, and river monsters.
Whoever, I don't know who said that. Whoever just said that message that you just had up about R.A., Richard Allen being the guy, and then Tony and Keegan doing the catfishing.
Yes.
That is a very plausible thing. We know that chomos do it.
Mm-hmm.
They get together on the internet and share information and secretly talk to each other that way.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But what we're implying by saying this, if that's actually true, then this isn't just chomos. They are killers who have certain fantasies and they want, and that's crazy to think about. Can you imagine? It's like a freaking movie. It's like Hostel. Can you imagine that? I don't want to live in a world where that's possible.
I know, right? Yeah.
I know it's possible. And that's the thing. But it's so hard to think that that's true. Like, I don't want to believe that's true.
Yeah. That's the thing, how come my tongue's cryptex? And it's the thing. What about that red Jeep being there? And who has the red Jeep? Like we said, Tony Klein.
Yep.
Yeah, exactly. Let's just hope that everybody that had something to do with this, whether it's setting it up, participating, or covering it up, everybody needs to get their pee-pee smacked. Like, no. I mean, these families deserve justice. And the way it's heading right now is if one crooked cop didn't do his due diligence, has messed this up for those families.
Or let's just say maybe there was even pressure by someone else on him to just put something out that could get them something. I don't want to say Leggett is just completely crooked. I don't want to say that. But people like sometimes feel pressure to do a job.
Yes.
You need to get this done.
Yeah.
You have to have this done. Get me something that works. Like, I don't
Mhm.
know. And this wouldn't be the first time of corruption of things like this happening. Did you ever hear
That's
about
the thing.
those two detectives in New York, Capopola, and they work for the freaking mafia. They're hitmen
Mhm.
for the freaking mafia.
And they were running.
They were detectives. They would get in their car and like they'd get a call and they'd be like, "Hey, I need
Yeah,
you to go get those guys." And they'd pretend like they were pulling them over and be like, "Hey, I need you to come
yeah.
get in the car, come with me. You're
Mafia
a suspect on
detectives.
something, or we need you to be a witness on something." And they would drive them somewhere and just end their life.
Yeah, yeah.
Corruption happens. It's not anybody can be evil, you know.
Oh, this is the thing, and I mean, for them to people with those kind of backgrounds, it's very common for them to work all the way through the legal system, from cops, detectives, to prosecutors, to judges. I mean, yeah. Were they proud of their accomplishments? Yeah, the good old boy law, right, Mom? It's they could be destroying this for those kids, and I don't know. I just think that, Mr.
And
Leggett.
in any future case, let's be honest. Like
Mhm,
this gets thrown out, this case
mhm,
will forever be tainted.
mhm.
If this gets
That's
thrown out, it's forever going
y
to be tainted, and
oh,
it's
it's
going
over
to be
and done with.
really hard to ever.
Yeah,
You're going to need solid freaking evidence, video of them doing it. I don't know. You're going to need something
mhm.
way better than, yeah. It's gonna if this gets thrown out for whatever reason, it's gonna destroy it for the
Oh, it
rest.
will.
It will.
It absolutely will. They it'll just if it's proven that this guy lied on that probable cause, the case is done. You can't come back from that.
It's done for Richard Allen. That's for sure. And then it'll be a huge problem in anyone else. Like if they continue, like obviously they would need to continue to investigate it. And if they
Mhm.
ever come across somebody else, it's tainted on their part too, because like their attorneys are just gonna come up and be like, "Well,
Yeah.
look at this shoddy job you did before."
Yeah. Yeah. Tony, the Kleins, Keegan has got 25 charges and got 30 years, but his dad, nothing. No convictions, no charges. Yeah, that damn cat hair, and everybody's got cats. It's like,
Mhm.
yeah, there is double jeopardy, isn't there?
Well, he hasn't been put on trial. He's being accused. So if this
Yeah.
gets thrown out before it ever goes to trial, yes, they can actually charge him again.
Mhm. On new,
If they
information.
yes, they would need all new evidence to do
Right.
that. But if he was put on trial and acquitted, then no, he can't be charged for that again. But
Mhm.
he hasn't gone
Mhm.
to trial yet, so he's just being accused.
So, yeah. Yeah. Yeah, the state gets one bite at the apple. It's just sad. I hate to see this happening, As I was, like I said, going through that today, it was just becoming clearer and clearer that if this guy actually did this and it's not looking good, it's over. You and
Yeah.
it breaks my heart for Abby and Libby's families, like, to get this close and then no justice, you know? It just I don't know how you deal with that, especially when it's a cop. you know, somebody you're supposed to trust. And if they screw this up for those families, oh my goodness. I
But
hope he goes away for a very long time.
I mean, if you look at all the history of all of everything that's ever happened, like when it comes to like court cases and people getting arrested or accused of things,
Mm-hmm.
a lot of the times the reason these guys end up getting off, or even if they get actually found guilty and go to jail, they end up appealing and
Mm-hmm.
get set free. And the reason for that is because someone
Mm-hmm.
with the state, either the prosecution or the investigators, did something shady.
Oh, I mean, right?
And they get off
It's,
for that reason. And whether
yeah,
they're innocent or not, but like that's how the law works. And you have to do
yeah.
everything by the book. And
Well, and is it just because this community is small that they think that they could get away with something like this? I don't know.
possibly, I don't know, but this case was so big, they should have known that it was never going to happen. And then Indiana,
Good question,
uh,
Tony.
this
Mhm.
area seems like there's not a lot of people in this area. And I don't know how Indiana itself is populated. It looks like
Mhm.
it's kind of spread out just looking at it.
Mhm.
They probably only have so many people that are capable of handling these kind of cases, like when it
Mhm.
comes to like capital punishment or whatnot. There's only a few of them that are qualified.
Yeah.
And Richard Allen, I can't say this enough. He got himself appointed two very, very, very good lawyers.
Oh, he sure did. They sure did. They're worth their weight in gold. It's like for all of this stuff to all of a sudden come out of nowhere, it just blows me away. You know, they had to do a lot of digging in order to come up with something like this, you know? And it's just that, yeah, the guilty have to be held accountable and the innocent acquitted, you know, very rural. No, the state has not responded yet, Lacey. They're going to have
A Frank's
that
hearing.
hearing.
A Frank's
And
hearing, yeah, for it.
yeah, when they have the Frank's hearing, that'll be when the judge will hear everything that we got. All that paperwork is when that will go to the judge. And then the judge is going to have to take a look at that.
Oh, yes, Rose. I'm glad you brought that up because that's a really, really good point. That's also one of the other really good points that was brought up in that document was about that casing.
Mm-hmm.
There's no pictures of it.
Just in the dirt.
There's no pictures of them going, oh, there's a bullet there, and then picture, and then with the little marker that shows you the length and what it is, right? No picture of that. No picture of them extracting it from the ground.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Just a
And
picture of it in the dirt, like
all of
as
that's
it lay
really
there.
important. Like all of that
Yeah.
is really important.
Yeah. You know what? And that's the proper thing to do, Lacey, is just kind of wait and see what happens. I mean, they did. The cops left a lot of evidence behind. They did.
Oh my God. Don't even get me started on Deborah.
Yeah.
That's a whole nother thing. Did you guys see the pictures in the Deborah case? They said that she took her own life.
Oh, that's right.
But if
Yes.
you see pictures of the scene, there's gloves
Mhm.
everywhere. There's trash
Mhm.
everywhere. I don't even know.
Like biohazardous type
You guys,
stuff.
what? You either left that behind, which is terrible,
Mhm.
or that was already there and you didn't bother picking it up. And all of that is evidence.
Exactly.
You take it all. Like,
Yeah. 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 Oh, it's just It's also considered pseudoscience on the casing, so I wonder if it'll even be submitted in court.
Well, I did a little research on the
It
.40 caliber bullet.
Yeah. Oh, I wish I was at CrimeCon too.
You can fit it into a 9mm weapon as long as you
Yeah.
change the barrel
Mhm.
in it, and the outside of the gun will still look completely the same.
Yeah. Yeah. Just crazy. I would love to go to CrimeCon.
Me too.
Oh, yeah, Becky.
We
It will be
we should like
look into that next year.
yeah. Bless you.
Yeah. Yeah. The Petitos and BTK's daughter Carrie. Are you planning on going?
She is going.
You're going, Mom?
She's going.
Oh, nice. Oh, brat.
I know, right?
Yeah.
Whatever. I have a good time. I don't even care. No, I totally care. I take
Oh,
lots of pictures.
yeah. That's what I was gonna say. Take lots of pictures. Dylan Round's mom. Yeah.
Yeah, we should all like maybe do a thing like where we just plan on anyone who wants to meet up next year, CrimeCon, we all go.
That's an idea. Yeah. $99. And that's for your day. And yeah, where is it? Do they change locations? How does
it's somewhere different every year.
Oh. You going, James? Oh, next year we're going to have a booth. Oh, nice. That is awesome. That is awesome.
Oh. Sunshine, I didn't know that. That's
yeah. No, that's pretty
nice.
awesome.
Thank you for doing that for her. Dylan Rounds, man.
That's another one, right?
That's what we met. Vegas. That's how we met, though. That's how I met you. That's how I came across you. Was
talking about Dylan Rounds.
Dylan Rounds case. Well, you were modding for like another channel.
Yep.
And they were like, yeah, share like mods, share a channel, and you shared it, and I was like, oh, subscribed. Like,
Mind of Monsters has a channel. It's in the description, friend.
Yeah, let me I'll post it. 1 second.
Okay. Oh, that's it. Yeah. How could you not fall in love with her determination and persistence?
She was feisty. You know, at first I wasn't really sure like how I felt about her, but then one day she did an interview and she kind of bared it. You could tell that she was crying. I was like, this girl's for real. Like,
oh yeah,
I started understanding her personality. That's exactly what it was. It wasn't. She was just determined to.
Yeah. She absolutely. I mean, and they did. They know who did this. You know, and he knows what he did.
I always thought it was
what
him.
He did.
I always thought it was him. I was like, vicinity, opportunity. The last person he talked to, it was him.
Yeah, exactly. Franky and Melvin.
Melvin.
Yeah, she doesn't take any chip. No, she doesn't.
Good woman.
That's the thing, Blifton. The only picture that they have, it's buried and no attempt to document it. So as far as Mad Melvin. I love that.
Okay, I'll be back.
You don't think so? You don't think Brenner acted alone? Do you think that Dawn had something to do with that? that's another case that hopefully they get some resolution. He needs to be locked up, and they need to lock up Mad Melvin. Yeah, those Wadsworths. I still think they're pretty shady, but look at their history, like, just scary humans.
Well, the only reason I would think Kurt is involved is because he's the one that called in that kidnapping.
Yes.
Oh, he's being held over here. You should go check it out. Like, distraction, because at the same time those keys came back. The key fob or whatever. They put it back in the trailer.
She threatened to sue you? Oh my word. What a family. They're whack jobs, like.
Yeah.
Oh my word.
Oh man, I can't. The one thing I remember, I don't know who
Yep, that's right, Lacey. The
who
key
this person
fob and
was
the
talking
bang bang.
about, but she was talking about having a wooden Gilgo that was like attached to like a generator or something and a motor that she had to crank up to get it to work. Do you remember this? Like, it was like a phone conversation.
I kind of, sorta. I
was like, is this what people are doing around that area? You ever heard of Amazon? You can order that,
What?
You don't have to make your own, especially not a wooden one. My goodness. Think about the splinters.
Oh, splinters. What? Oh, these cases. Alex Easterling. No.
Right. You don't go to a gynecologist. You call a carpenter and an electrician for that.
A carpenter and electrician. That's hilarious. Oh my word. Ashley's mom has been looking for platforms to get the word out. She's good friends with Candace Cooley. Are you serious? Who's on panel with me right now? That's Mekci. Mekci. Frank and Maud.
Dude, I can't make this stuff up. Like, this is a true story that I heard this woman say. What was it? What wasn't the town name? She was like the bar owner or something.
Oh, yeah. That Kurt was supposedly renting from her.
Oh my goodness. Such.
Can someone translate 4 p.m.
Ellen.
Standard?
Is it Ellen Berg? Was it Ellen Berg who said that?
Yeah. It might have been. That sounds about right.
Yes, because they had talked to his son a couple of times, right? Her son. Yes, that's her. Yes. She made that comment about the wooden electronic toy.
Oh my word. Right? It's just like, oh my God. Oh my goodness. Only has one lung.
And they turned that whole case into a freaking joke. I think that's when I stopped watching that channel, because I just couldn't. It was really bad. It became really bad. Like,
I agree with you, Rose. Yeah, they need to investigate the corruption. Frankincense would be a great fit. That's awesome. Frankincense.
I like that, actually.
Oh my goodness. So, yeah, I guess what we're going to have to do is just hope that the truth comes out, whichever way it goes. Just hope that these families get a little bit of justice and these girls just didn't pass away in vain. Like, come on.
That's what I would
It's
hate out of all of
mhm,
this is them. You know, it's
mhm.
they need this. I
They
don't.
do.
I'm a little bit religious, so I don't feel like they're at peace. Like
How can they be?
until they know they're at peace, and that would
Mhm,
have to be, you know, the right person going their
mhm.
judgment for what they did. Like,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, met on a channel that no longer here, and Mekci on a channel no longer here. We prevail, fight the good fight, and then we find each other now. We're fam. Exactly, exactly. You know, and it's the truth. You do find the like-minded people. You know, we just want justice. And there's one thing, it's always kind of nice to at some point um, lighten it a little bit because it's these cases are heavy on the soul.
they're hard.
Yeah, they really, really are. And it's devastating to think of these families. Yeah.
A lot of YouTubers gotten chased off of YouTube. Some good
I didn't know
ones.
that she did too.
Yeah.
I didn't realize that. Wow. Yes, Justice Coffee had some good tree. Well, I think maybe call it. What do you think, friend?
Yeah, I'm gonna go play some Harry Potter before my roommate gets home.
Well, you know what? I might
Drinking
carry this
done.
conversation on again tomorrow. There's still a lot to go through, and still I'd like to look at that paperwork a little bit, go through it, and maybe I don't know. Maybe there's something we'll find in there that might save this case. I don't know.
I know you said, would a typo do anything? And I'm like, no.
Well, I didn't know because
You were
there's
looking for
one
any.
place in there. Oh,
There's a
well,
few
when
typos
you're
that
writing
I found too. I was like,
when you're writing up a ticket, if you make a mistake on that ticket, the ticket's null and void.
mm-hmm,
So in one part of that document, it said that Libby was the girlfriend.
mm-hmm.
And I'm like, is that going to be enough? Like, is that
No,
enough?
it's not.
And the girls in Flora.
Yes, those girls.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I was actually going to look into those a little bit more today and I didn't. So maybe that'll be my evening job is look into that a little bit. So for her end, Mad Melvin. You enjoy your evening. Thank you so much.
Thanks for having me. It's always a pleasure. Loki's getting rowdy. You must hear some
Have a
coolness
great
outside.
night.
All right, guys.
Right.
Happy weekend. Happy Oktoberfest. If you're celebrating that, please be safe.
Be safe,
Drink
friends.
responsibly and always get a ride.
Well said. Okay, have a great night. We'll see you guys in the next one.
Bye.
Bye.